Introducing the Past Present Feature Film Festival, a new showcase celebrating cinematic storytelling across time. From bold proof-of-concept shorts to standout new films lighting up the circuit to overlooked features that deserve another look. Sponsored by the Past Present Feature podcast and Leica Camera, all films screen in Hollywood using Leica's CineWay projector. Submit now at filmfreeway.com/past-present-feature. The past, the present, the future of film, all under one spotlight. Welcome to the Past Present Feature podcast. Danish filmmaker Mads Mengel joins Past Present Feature just before his world premiere of The Guest in the Crystal Globe competition at the Karlovy International Film Festival. Since this recording, The Guest has gone on to win the festival's special jury prize, while Mengel received the Best Director award. We discuss how the film grew from a simple question into an intimate family drama shaped by years of writing, collaboration, and refinement. Along the way, we explore contained storytelling, the Danish filmmaking model, building a visual language around performance rather than coverage, and why practical limitations often lead to stronger creative decisions. Mads also reflects on the films and filmmakers that shaped his love of cinema, including Magnolia, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, The Lord of the Rings, 12 Angry Men, and The Conversation. At its core, our conversation is about making more with less, trusting the people around you, and discovering that limitations often become your greatest creative advantage. I got a little sick thing going on. That's why I got the hoodie and I'm all cozy and stuff over here. Where are you coming from? Are you in Denmark?
I'm in Denmark right now, visiting my parents' place right now, actually. So I'm in my old childhood room.
Ooh, perfect. I love it. I see a film poster. Is that a film poster on the wall back there? What is it?
It's Leonard Cohen. It's not my old room anymore, so it's my parents' stuff.
Well, I love stuff. Let's just start with the past then, because this is your old room that I'm seeing. Like you grew up there, like your whole childhood was spent in that room.
Most of it, yeah. It's not Lauer's. I think it's my parents' creative room or something like that. So
okay, nice. Did you find yourself falling in love with films in that room by chance?
Yeah, I did that in my living room. I bought a small television who were able to play VHS tapes.
Yeah.
It was like 12 inches or something. It's a very small TV, but I watched a lot of films on that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was talking to a friend last night about the screen size and how, 35 inch or 20 something inches was huge back then. And now
it was.
I don't even want to talk about how, it's embarrassing how huge my screen is now, but not big enough. I need more. Supersize me. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you, let's just do the practical thing then. Like what are some of the first few films that you felt like you connected with at a young age? Any memories, core memories?
Yeah, I have some. Like the very first one was like I watched Dungeons and Dragons with Jeremy Irons, which I rewatched again. It's a horrible film. I fell in love with it when I was like 9 years old or something like that. And I realized in the film there's dragons and so on. So I was like, but there doesn't exist dragons in the real world. Someone had to make these. And I realized someone was making the films. So that was my first experience, like connecting with the thought of you could make films for a living. And also, yeah, go on. Sorry.
I forgot about this 2000 fantasy adventure hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Dungeons and Dragons 2000. I believe I was working at the public library at the time, and I was in charge of all the getting the DVDs ready for the renters. And I believe this one came in. I remember seeing this one come in, and I had to cut out the thing and put it in the right library box and all that. But it was kind of like a straight to DVD, like.
Yeah, it was.
Straight to DVD kind of like a phase, right? It was where so many films might not have blown up on theatrically, but damn if they didn't find life in the DVD space, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which I kind of
miss. Yeah, I do as well. I miss the physical copies of film. I love that so much. But also, like one of the first really, really good film experience I had was watching Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia. Ooh. That was mind-blowing for me.
I remember seeing that for the first time as well.
Yeah.
What are some takeaways from you?
Well, I hadn't seen a film do that kind of stuff before in any shape or form. the sequence where everyone starts singing the same song and the ending with the rains with frogs, and it was realism but hyper realism and with a touch of magic or something. And I felt so much in that film. I cried and I laughed, and I was like, I have never tried the film did that to me before. And I remember like I was in awe.
That opening too, I'd never really seen that before, where it was just like
No,
this
that's amazing
narrator
opening.
who talked about this coincidental story, and it was all tied
Yes, yes,
together, and how it freeze framed, and it was just so much filmmaking technique going on in that 5 to 10
yes.
minutes. Whoa,
And
holy
everything,
shit.
these push-ins and everything was just like hyper sensitive.
The first thing I think about when that movie with that movie is that freeze frame of the person jumping off the roof, and then at the
Yes,
same time they get shot by
getting shot.
a
Yeah,
domestic situation, and yeah, it's funny how an image or a moment can stick in your mind. But yeah, no, I'm with you.
exactly.
It was like, holy shit, you can do anything you want, I guess. PTA. Woo! What a wonderful filmmaker, truly.
The best one. One of the best, if
Hey, I
not the
won't
best,
argue
I
with
think.
that.
Yeah.
I love One
Me
Battle
neither.
After Another. It was my favorite movie last year. I just got it on 4K yesterday.
You did? I want to rewatch it again. One of the best film experiences I had in a long time.
Same. All right, so you are Mads Mengel. Is that the right way to say your last name?
Yes, close enough,
Okay.
I think. Yes.
Okay. And not to be confused with Mads Mikkelsen.
No.
And you have a film called The Guest, which is premiering at the Crystal Globe competition at Karlovy Vary this year.
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I love interviewing filmmakers from Karlovy Vary, because it just seems like what reminds me of the beginnings of this podcast, like already 2 years ago now. I started with Tribeca, and I just got off an interview with a Tribeca programmer, director. And then I moved over to Karlovy. Karlovy was always the second festival that I would interview people associated with. And it's just such a craft driven, like, I don't know, like a purist, like, I don't know, just film festival, and just so many great movies, and also just European, very European taste level. And it's always nice to get up in the Karlovy of it all. So anyways, just so you know.
Nice.
Yeah. And it also just kind of, it just makes it help. It really, the Karlovy Vary filmmakers from 3 years ago, well, 2 years ago, technically, really helped me to jumpstart this podcast as well. Because we were just really, and it kind of just to help decide what this thing wanted to be, which was mostly about not just the process of filmmaking, but also just like the human, the filmmaker's hero's journey in themselves, So, in a way. So, anyways, you should know that.
That's really nice. And it's my first time. I've never been there, so I'm really looking forward to it. But everyone I talk to talks so nicely of the festival and the city as well. So I'm really looking forward to it.
It seems non-pretentious. It seems, I haven't been either.
Yeah, exactly.
But it seems like it's just all about the right stuff. And also, a lot of the filmmakers that do well there seem to go on to do some good stuff too, like as far as having a healthy life for their film.
Yeah, I heard that and read that as well. So I hope it's true this time as well.
You're good. You're already in
wonderful.
Crystal Globe competition too. What?
Yeah, that's really nice.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, let's talk about your film real quick. So it's called The Guest, and I'm going to read a little bit of the synopsis on the Karlovy Vary 60th Karlovy Vary. Fresh parents Carl and Emily are looking forward to a weekend at a seaside hotel where they plan to announce their child's name and thus officially welcome him to the world. A day before the celebration, however, Carl's mother, Vibeke, shows up, with whom he hasn't spoken in several years. Building on the tradition of contemporary Nordic cinema, debut filmmaker Mads Mengel tells the intimate story of a family that threatens to fall apart when old wounds are opened up. What begins as a close-knit celebration turns into an uncomfortable confrontation with an unresolved past that won't let the film's protagonists forget who they really are or where they come from. Ooh, all right. Cool, man. And look, I mean, the first thing that catches my eye is the aesthetic of this film. I just love the way the stills look, and also the film, the trailer. And, this is a cinematography forward podcast, but still, just saying. And then also, like, it seems very, that synopsis seems very contained, but dramatic, very tense type scenario, which I always love that stuff.
Yeah. Me too. Really.
Yeah. So,
love those kind of films.
How did this project come about?
Well, I've always been interested in the drama as a genre, because I think the best movie experience I have myself is drama films. So
Okay.
not that I don't like, I love almost every kind of film, but my heart has always had a special room for that. So I knew I wanted to make some film of sort of like family dynamics and the relationships that shapes us. So it started with a vague idea of what would happen if a character hadn't spoken to their parents in like many years and they suddenly showed up for some kind of event. At that point, we didn't know what kind of event it was, but so that was how the beginning of the film sort of took its form. And then we worked on it for several years, and it's had many different colors and shapes until we ended up on the result now. So that was not like, I didn't have this eureka moment where I was like, oh, this is the film. This is what I want to make. It was
Sure.
more like a slow but effectful process of trying to make some real characters.
So when you had that, when we went from the idea of that concept of, what you just shared into kind of getting it, what was the next step for you as far as, was it just kind of like writing a short script and making a short film at first, or did you bust out a whole feature script, or what was the next step?
The first step was to get people on board. I have a wonderful collaboration with my writer Christian Bengtsson, who wrote the film with me. We worked on numerous television shows, and the first step was to get him on board, and then I have a wonderful producer as well. So I had to convince those two people that this is a good idea. We should make this, and luckily for me, they were like, "Yes, fuck that, let's do it." Sorry for cursing.
No apologies fucking necessary.
Thank you. So that's the first step. And then me and Christian started to in the beginning, just finding scenes and stuff we thought was interesting. Not necessarily trying to put it in a story, but like, okay, I have this scene in my head. I like this. I've seen this character. I've watched this. I've experienced this. And just writing it down and putting it up on a board in front of us, and then slowly you start to see shapes and forms, and like there's a story and there's a theme here we want to explore. And at one point, we wrote a script and got some money to make like a test promo of sorts.
Nice. Okay.
Like 18 minutes.
Which always seems to help, I feel like.
It does. It really does, because at that point, everything is just talk and paper. So suddenly you have something, and maybe it's not as beautiful and as long, but you have a proof of concept of some sort.
And not only to show other people, but to show to understand yourself what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
All these sizzles that I do for the docs, it's the same thing. It's like, it's a really healthy, real checkpoint to get to.
Yeah, I could imagine. And it's a way of rehearsing, like before you start.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Like, what am I doing? Before I forget, I just want to interject real quick. You graduated from the National Film School of Denmark, correct?
Mm-hmm.
First attracted attention with your graduation short For Julian.
Yeah.
Which received a Robert, which is a Danish Academy Award nomination.
Yeah, nomination for it. Yeah, it does.
Dang, baller. You subsequently directed the series My Different Ways, which was also nominated by the Danish Film Academy, and Suplex.
Suplex, yeah. I think that's the English title, yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. I mean, so you came out the gate hot then, it sounds like. Here I am.
Well,
what's up?
Yeah. Well, I was fortunate. I came out at a time where I came out in the television series boom, where everybody wanted to make a television show, and people just realizing that streaming platforms and everything. So everyone was making a television show. And I was really lucky because I was asked really quickly to direct My Different Ways. And it was my first real job, and not just as school films and short films and so on. And that led to the next one, and then this film, and now I'm shooting a bigger television show for Danish television. So I've been really lucky, just coming out at the right spot and being able to take the opportunities that was given to me.
As far as American pacing versus, let's say, European, would you say that European pacing is a little more slow burn?
Well, it can be, or maybe more slow burn. And I also think a lot of European productions don't have as much money as American productions, so you're forced to be more creative with the way you're engaging with the audience. So maybe slow is the wrong word, but I think European tradition can be more like less is more. In American context, that could be the opposite actually. So, but it's orange and devil. So I love both things. It's not like
Same.
bashing on either one of
No,
them.
no. Yeah, it's just interesting, kind of like the because pacing in general seems to be a little bit. Because even sometimes some American films or products can be a little too fast for my liking. Sometimes cut, or
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. It's like, can we chill for a minute? Can you pull me in instead of force me in?
Yeah, exactly.
But then on the flip side, of course, some films, American and European and elsewhere as well, can be a little too slow sometimes. Okay, come on, get to it. Come on. But I do find that European cinema is more grounded in really character-driven drama, and I would say realism in general is probably more alive and well than ever in cinema. Wouldn't you say? Across the board, realism itself.
I think so too. I think you're right about that. But and I think the European film tradition and the American film tradition is very different. The story of how you make films in Europe is that you have an auteur or a director, and the director have a lot of power. Also in Denmark, I have full control of my film when I make it, and I think the American studio system is something different. But some of the best films ever made is from America. So I'm not, again, not bashing on that system, but I think some of the difference lies in how the story of film started in the two different parts of the world.
And I guess the end result is in my opinion, what really matters, right? Like, how does the film come out? And sometimes you hear these stories, like even Apocalypse Now or something.
Yeah, exactly. Out of Darkness.
What a great movie. Oh my God. It must have been so, wow, it must have been so easy, and Coppola's a genius. But it's like, the reality is a little different,
Yeah. It sounds like a shit show, but a wonderful one.
A massive shit show, but a wonderful one. Yeah. But,
exactly.
No, but anyways, okay. So what about, what were some of your did I even ask you that? What were some of your favorite kind of movies, man? Like growing up, what was some stuff that stuck with you? And I don't even want to say, maybe I need to reword this question. I think it should be less about what's your favorite movie and more about what's the movie that you've rewatched the most, you think? I think that's a better way.
Well, I have watched Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind like 50 times.
Okay, that's a hit on this podcast. Yeah,
yeah,
come up a few times. It's a good one.
I love that one. And the editor has actually graduated from the Danish film school.
Amazing.
Way back. She's Icelandic. But it's an amazing film, I think. And I love Lord of the Rings also. I've seen those a million times. Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, I just got that on 4K as well.
That's amazing. Well
the
done.
pacing of that is just, it's just how the vastness and the volume of that story, and just the movies, that trilogy, but then how quickly it moves, and you don't ever get bored.
No. I went to the cinemas. I saw all three in a row. I sat there for like 14 hours in January. It was amazing.
Just peed on yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Too much. Sorry. Am I going to cut that out? I don't know. Any moment where you're like, holy shit, I have to make movies? Was there a moment that you had there? Or maybe just like an age where you were like, I am a filmmaker?
I think I quite early had a dream, like I want to make films, but to have a childhood dream and then be able to do it that's a long road. I feel really fortunate that is at this point, at least for now, is I'm succeeding at this, because not many people get to say, what do you want to be when you grow up, and then you become it. I have been very shy about saying out loud and to myself that I am a filmmaker, because it felt like, oh my God, don't whisper it, don't blow it away. But I knew, I think I was like around 15 or 16 when I realized I want to make movies and I want to be the director about it. But it's been a long way coming, because the road wasn't easy, and it took me a long while to figure out how to do that. Actually.
Nice. Were you making little home videos and stuff with people, or was it anything like that?
Yeah. Home videos and editing other films just together on my PC at that time, and then making short films. And I tried to make a music video once that was horrible, really bad. I can't even watch it now.
Send me a link.
No, never. Nobody has.
I'll send you some of my early shit.
Oh, I will show you a lot, but the music video I'm taking to the grave.
I should have taken many more things to the grave. I need to check my old YouTube and see what's out there. No, I mean, it's means to an end, I guess, that stuff. But yeah, you don't want to be judged by your lack of, like, your early stuff. I mean, that's everybody. There was a Hitchcock, for example. Like, I mean, not until you really dive into his story do you realize that he did like 20 full movies before he popped off with The Lodger. You know, and everybody thinks, or the younger filmmaker, the younger me, thought that all these successful filmmakers were just perfect right out the gate, when it's not the reality.
Yeah,
They just have to hone the craft, and you got to put the 10,000 hours in. Some people have very spotless seeming careers, filmographies, but not really always the case.
When did you fall in love with films?
I was kind of similar with the VHS stuff. We were always making movies before I made a decision to make movies. I never thought it was a possibility, because I'm from a small town in North Carolina. You can't make movies and make money. Who the hell do you think you are? You know, nobody. There's no examples of that. And
I know the feeling.
Yeah, but then my country mama was, God bless her, was like, you should go to film school. You should do this, da da da. And I did. Well, I didn't go. I went to orientation. I ended up not being prepared for the film school, or my grades weren't right. But ended up going to down the street to Wilmington, North Carolina, where they had this studio. It's Dino De Laurentiis' old studio that turned into Carol Co. That didn't turn into Screen Gems. And then so I was able to get on film sets as a grip and as a PA and a camera assistant. And then I made short films from there. So, but I guess to answer the specific question, I guess I knew right around 18. We had already been making movies. I had been filming stuff since I was like 12, maybe 13.
Amazing.
But I didn't really say, I didn't own it or say, I'm going to do it until about 18, maybe 17, 18, something like that. Which was, I like that. That was cool, because I had already kind of just done it without some sort of kind of ownership of it, or some sort of ego-y thing where it's like, I'm a filmmaker. Because I never forget the orientation at the School of the Arts, North Carolina School of the Arts, which I do wish, I don't want to say I regret, because I like my path, but one little bit of a thing I wish I would have done for sure is to have just gone to that school. But I remember one of the turnoffs for me was when we went to orientation, and I saw this like other kid my age, you know, he dressed like a reservoir dog, you know, with this like suit on. And he's just like standing in front of everybody. I'm just like, I don't want to go here. I want to go back to home and hang out with people. Like, you know what I mean? So anyways, I don't know. But then I would watch Sundance Channel. There was a show called Film School. Do you remember that? Did you have that channel?
No, I don't think so.
This was like 2001. Anyways, it was NYU, and there's all these like kids making short films, and I was like, I want to go to NYU. So I had this fantasy of film school, but I was always catching up and not really prepared to be in that world, grades wise or like money wise. And so, but I was very lucky also to have Screen Gems down the street, you know, and get on actual film sets and learn at least a lot of like practical stuff, you know, the aesthetic, like how do you make a movie look the way it does? How do you rig a camera to a car? What's the cadence and the, you know, what's the way to act on a set? And then ultimately the biggest film school I ever got was watching other real big time directors direct people. You know what I mean? That was literally a shadowing without actually really even seeing it that way at the time. But now, so I got, that was my film school, which I got paid to go to. So I'm cool.
Amazing.
I'm cool with it.
Amazing.
And it got me out of North Carolina. It's a long answer, but there you go.
No, but it's a good answer. And I think everyone who loves film has to find some way into it. And it's not the easiest. Like we haven't, it's a hard road.
Okay, back to your film, The Guest. Like, why do you think this concept? Why do you think, what really pulled you to this concept? And like, why did you then need to put all the work that one has to put in to get it all the way to a great film that would get in the car?
Well, I think film is really good at showing people pressed in some sort of time lock, I think. So at the beginning, I knew the film had to take place over a day or only 2 days or something, like people locked in, like in an event, like a wedding, or in this case, a naming ceremony or something like that. So I knew that if that was the form and we filled it up with real characters and real human emotions and ambivalence and all the good stuff, then I had a strong feeling that the film would work, that it would be a journey where you would laugh at some points and also feel a lot. Because in the film, I think the humor and the emotions, the deep emotions, are really close tied together. So I had a strong sense that somehow the form would work if we just did our job good enough. And I think we did.
Containment stuff. God, I love it. I've been writing the last 2 scripts we're working on have been contained stuff. And it is like this. It goes back closer to like a play, right? Versus a kind of like a changing locations all the time, which doesn't really help the the emotional pull. I don't think usually. I mean, because I've made a film where we had, believe it or not, we had like I think about 90 different locations. And it was a film with like it was a film with like 140 different scenes. And it was but it was more strain on our real life than it was actual payoff when you watch the film. Then also,
and it's expensive to have a lot of locations. So it's also like we didn't have a lot of money for this film. I think in US dollars it would be like $1 million or something like that to make it for all the script and everything. So we had to be really smart about how we are getting the most out of our money. And one of those things is also containment of space and time.
And the less time you spend moving along, the more time you can spend working on what gets captured inside the camera, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, on a practical standpoint, that makes a lot of sense, but also on a dramatic standpoint, on an emotionally effective standpoint, a lot of the best films and stories are really, when you think about it, some of my favorite films are contained films, whether it be all in one day, 1 or 2 or 3 locations. You know what I mean? I mean, I do like an ensemble film all over the place too. I like Ocean's 11. Don't get me wrong. But I love La Haine. I love there's so many good movies that were so. And I think it's like it forces you, for it to work at all. You can't say switch to a location. You have to find a way to tell this story effectively through these characters and their issues, right?
Exactly.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day anyways. We have this film that we're working on. We're trying to get it financed, but it's basically it takes place all inside of a double wide trailer in North Carolina. And it's in real time. And it's basically about this basketball prodigy who's going to decide where he's going to go play at school on Instagram Live. You have all these characters. It's a cookout. But you have these sub locations though. I don't look at it as, oh, there's just one location. It's like it's a double wide trailer, but you have the living room, you have the kitchen, you have the outdoor space, you have the basketball goal, and you know what I mean? You have a car that you can sit in and talk. It's like those are many locations actually. And then with that, you can also just keep the camera going with longer takes, not for gimmick purposes, but just to put the audience there more in real time, And so I'm like, holy shit, why wouldn't I do this? Yeah, what were you?
And I think that kind of concept early on in your in working with the film, I think that's really smart, because all that stuff you just told me, that sounds amazing, and I think it's a smart way to also use a simple location at first, really smart, and get the most out of it. And I think if you really do that well, you can have as interesting film as any other.
Yeah.
And especially if the characters and the emotions and the themes you're exploring are real and honest, I think you're a long way there.
And you can still...
But you're going back to North Carolina with your film?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, so this is based on a documentary that I did about basketball in my hometown, because we have the most draft picks per capita. So this film is all the stuff I couldn't exercise, I couldn't get out, but it's all the stuff that so I won't go too much into it, but and the theme would be about kind of, you can still identify all the main ingredients that you need and still have it be in a practical container. Like the theme is like, really is about ownership mentality. People think they own other people's decisions, in this situation, which is always kind of like a what the fuck kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is a real thing, like, you can't go to Duke, you should go to North Carolina. Why would you choose that school? I'm not a fan of that school. It's like, this isn't your life, man. And so you start seeing these like multi-point opposition possibilities where you don't need to change the location. You can have the mom and the agent and the best friend and the old.
You can many different perspectives represented in different characters. That's smart.
Yeah. So anyways, and then you can have a ticking clock where it's like, ooh, what's he going to decide as these people start getting more and more sweaty or more concerned with like what he's going to choose. You have this cookout thing, and it's all this like North Carolina culture shit going on in the background. So, anyways, that is, once I started shifting to kind of the starting point of it being what you did, which is more a container, more of a controlled container, containment, or in some way. It gives you actually more clarity. There's a lot of good stuff that happens once you kind of figure out a container that you're excited about, I guess.
Yes, I agree, and your journey with your script right now is some of the same process we went through. Like how do we get the most out of the least? And you start in the beginning, you dream big, and then you start to see what is it really about, what's most important, and what's not necessary to tell this story. And the more you do that, the sharper your story also gets, I think. So it's not just a money solution. It's also your film you cut out all the fat and all the waste, and you get into the point and the meat of the bone. What is this story about?
Because you have everything, then what do you even know what you want or appreciate the most? When you have too many options in any sort of situation,
Exactly.
it's like it's just too much. Too much is too much sometimes, and not enough breeds creativity and kind of gives you more of a clarity of what's important. But
yeah, I agree.
yeah, which is a great thing as a filmmaker listening to this. It's a really nice, important, empowering thing that you can remember and use. You don't need much. It's more about like, what is you need a little something, but you don't necessarily need that much. You just like, what are your concepts? What are your what are your main ingredients that don't necessarily cost money, Anyways. All right. So speaking of money, did you have any money that I could borrow for this movie? I'm just kidding. It's terrible. Speaking of money.
I have not.
Yeah,
I'm sitting at my parents. Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind. I digress. I'm just kidding. Speaking of money and financing and just talking about, I want to ask you how you went from development and I guess to, getting this film financed. What was that process? What did that look like?
Well, in Denmark, we are fortunate that the Danish government has some different kinds of arts support, and especially for films. So it's a long process and so on, but you can actually get a lot of money from the Danish Film Institute to make your film.
Is it competitive? Do you have to kind of get in that door? There's a lot of people trying to get in, or how does that look?
Yeah, there's a lot of people, and it's a long way. You first have to write a script, and if they like it, you could write a new one, and then so on. And then at one point, and then you have to find some other kind of funding from private investors and so on. But in our case, it wasn't that much. And I worked with the greatest production company you could work with. Like it's a small company, but a new one in Denmark is called Monolith Films, and they really believed in me and the film right from the beginning. So my producer, Victor, has been a tremendous force in getting everything together so we could realize this project.
So what's Victor's last name?
It's Victor Cunha.
Shout out, Victor Cunha.
Yeah, exactly.
And are you with Level K for distribution? Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. I've seen that them pop up all over the place. They've been around for a minute, right?
Yeah, they have. They're really good. We have some excellent meetings, and right now they're traveling all around festivals trying to sell our film. So they've been awesome.
Nice.
And they came to us, actually. I was really fortunate. They came to us and said, I think we like this film and I think we'll be a good match. And it turned out they were right. So I'm grateful.
That's so cool when it all just works out appropriately. Did they come to you after the Karlovy acceptance? And
No. That was the good thing. They came before. They came before the film was even finished editing. They just saw a scene from it, and then they came. And I was like, "Why do you haven't seen anything?" But they were really, really good, and very sweet people. Were also very competent. So
that's so cool.
That was.
Did your producer just send out a scene? Or to certain companies, maybe?
Yeah, he sent out a scene, and we were in Helsinki and presenting, like showcasing a scene and having a short pitch, and they were in the audience, and we were just finished shooting, so we just put together a small scene really fast, and they came to us from that and said, "We like it," and we were like, "Awesome."
Fuck yeah, great.
Yeah.
It's nice when you actually do get some, some what do you say?
Yeah.
Find your people.
Exactly.
Excuse me. All right, let's just move into the. I guess you got the financing. Production. How long did you shoot for?
We shot for 17 days. It was a short production.
Tight.
Yeah. Long days, but then sometimes 2 cameras and.
Okay.
But we spent a lot of time making the perfect plan, I would say, so we could do it in a short amount of time. Again, because of money and so on.
So 2 cameras, you were just doing a basic cross coverage type situation sometimes, or was it kind of a close up medium shot, or always different?
It depended. Like we had some big scenes with the 50 extras and all the main cast, like a big dinner scene in the film, and then we took like It was almost like watching a play take part. Like one take would take maybe a half an hour, and they just acted the whole scene and 17 pages, and we just had 2 cameras with zoom lenses on, who could go in and out and just fishing around to give this authentic feel.
I love that style of shooting. I really do.
Yeah,
and it's some Robert Altman vibes too, from what you just explained.
I love Robert Altman. I love him
too.
So.
And just how even like Nashville or a lot of his films, The Player, where it's like you just even the ensemble of it all, and how he would zoom in and he would just follow it. He would pass batons very well, right?
Exactly.
He would pass the baton from like character to character without cutting. God damn, it's like and with the multi all the audio tracks that he had, and like he was special in that way. I feel like
he was a master.
Master for sure. Yeah. Nice.
And I also love I love Annie Hall and Husband and Wives before he became controversial and all that.
Same. Midnight in Paris, Woody Allen. Midnight in Paris. I love that movie so much.
Yeah. I agree.
Blue Valentine.
And I also love some of Noah Baumbach's earlier works, like The Squid and the Whale, and some of that. That's just up my alley. And
totally,
I love like People Contained in a Room. I love that's an old film, but 12 Angry Men. Like
I rewatched that recently.
Amazing.
That opening the opening 2 shots.
It's amazing.
Well, I guess technically the second and third shot. I think that's correct. Anyway, that's a film school in itself. You know, where it's like you can show how you can like tell you can show how you can like continue the camera without having to cut. If you can just think in terms of you don't have to cut. You don't have to do basic coverage. You can really get creative with it. You can, and it's a kind of a passing of a baton type. At least that shot where like the guy, it's like the camera's on the balcony on the top floor, looking down into the entrance of the courthouse, and then it shows somebody walk in, and I think it does like a tilt pan thing, and then you see another character come through, and then once they cross, you see they cross over to the room. And anyways, it was just so inspiring.
Have you seen Coppola's The Conversation? It does some of the same. Yeah, I love that as well.
The crazy aerial zoom thing.
Yes, exactly.
That movie's so good too.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Gene Hackman. Yeah, no, that's a good one. I mean, I just find inspiration in like creative ways to push the visual component, of it all. Anybody can fucking shoot coverage, and that maybe it has its place, in certain situations. But whenever that you just say, I'm going to do that, it's like try to just move like 12 Angry Men, like even the second shot where they're inside the room, it's like how he places the subjects in the frame back and forth and in and out, and the camera doesn't move too much, but it's just like, and for the time period they did it in, it's like, there are no excuses. It's all about technique at this point, and just go for it. Just go for the longer take, not for gimmick purposes, but just maybe it will be the best, most engaging way to get the audience even more there, right? Kind of thing. Anyways. I love it.
I agree. No, I agree. I totally agree.
Talk about how you directed this film and how you kind of design maybe, do you do shot lists or what was your plan going in with you and your cinematographer, producer, as far as just like how you wanted to capture the story on camera?
Well, we didn't do a shot list. We did like a concept of how would we move the camera in different kinds of situations. And we made like our rules were like for every room we shot in, like we had like one light setting, and then we could like light it one time before when we started the day, and then we wouldn't change it. So we quickly could like reverse and could always shoot like almost 360 around in the room. And then we would do like one master where most of it is handheld, unless we were on zooms, or handheld with a small zoom on it. And our photographer, I worked with this amazing photographer called David Bauer, and so he is also really present in the scenes. He's really good at reading the actors and so on. So our concept was to give the actors as much freedom as possible, and then we would like make a arrangement, a mise en scène in the beginning where we would like, okay, this would work if you go here and say this and blah blah blah. And then we shoot it a couple of times until we were happy with that. And then we'd be like, okay, if we want to edit it, what could be nice to have? Maybe a close-up of this situation or this. And then we do coverage for the rest of this scene. And that was our basic way of shooting and approaching the scene. And we found this one location, a beach hotel up north of Copenhagen, which is really beautiful. So we spent a lot of time with our production designer to pick the right rooms and the right colors and so on. So we always made sure that where we where was some place that was interesting to look at. I believe that cinematographer and production design is very closely tied together. That's very easy to say because that's very true. But if you make some smart choices about production design, your film can look more expensive than it is.
And then throw in wardrobe as like a little brother or sister to those two, right?
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
It's like what's actually in the shot, and then how it's composed and all that. Oof.
Exactly.
It sounded like you had a really, sounded like you had a nice, healthy balance of like a cohesive, uniformed plan, while also letting it breathe, letting it be. As far as the acting, as far as the cinematography, as far as but also you're not going in straight dogma 95ing it. You did allow
No.
a little bit of a the one light. I love the one light thing because a
Yeah,
lot of
and
time real life doesn't have multiple source. You know what I mean? It's like and the way the cameras are, I don't think you would lack anything by even having just one on that level. But also, it's
no, and I have some
minimal.
great actors, which like they're amazing actors who could, if you said to them like, it would be really nice if you could end around here where the light is really good, but you're not compelled to. But please, if you could, that would be nice. And so I think, and the cameras at this point, they're really really good. So if you're just smart, and we had a fantastic man on light. He's made like films for like the last 50 years. So he's really smart about light. So
The
less light is
gaffer.
more light. Yeah, exactly. And so he was
Excuse me.
really good at looking at a room and be like, maybe just lamp over there and do something with the curtains. And he just understood light in a way that made us look really good. So
Less
that
is
was
more
awesome.
too, right? The people the
Exactly.
vets, yeah. You
Exactly.
see the amateurs, they bring out every light, and they got all this hot mess on set, and the next thing you know, it's 2 hours later, and you're fucked.
Yeah, and it's always like the thing that's time consuming when making film is like when you do have to do a reverse shot or something, and you have to change everything and move everything on the other side.
Turn
And if you do
around.
that, you can
Ugh.
only exactly. If you do that, you can only shoot like 3 or 4 pages a day because every thing is time consuming.
Yeah,
So we knew
time
we
is the
only
big concern, I think, right?
it
The
is because
biggest.
time is money when you make it. So
Yeah.
we knew from the beginning that we only had like 17 days at max. So we had to make a concept that would be quick, where we still could get a lot of material. And from saying cut to action again, there's no more than 4 minutes or 5 minutes max, and then we shoot
Okay.
again.
You're giving yourself parameters that make practical sense, while also
Exactly,
inside giving things space to breathe. It sounds like, yeah, which
exactly,
sounds so
and
smart.
just get as much material home to the editing room as
Yeah,
possible.
because you want to maximize that 17 days.
Exactly,
But you
exactly.
still had a uniformity to that plan, which is helpful, right? Because everything is going to be. You had the handheld on the Zoom. You had you were
Exactly.
continuous with that concept, the visual concept.
Exactly. You have a concept and you understand your concepts together. And again, everybody, I think you know this, everybody probably know this, but can't stress it enough. The collaboration between your photographer and the director, you have to find someone you love almost like, and I love David. So working with him is like, okay, we see the world in the same way. And that makes our collaboration really easy. And also why we can make a new shot in within 4 minutes because we can look at each other and say, I like this, I don't like this. You agree? Yes, I agree, but I like this. Okay, let's move.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think that's
nice.
really important. Yes, really.
Totally. What if you hate them, but but you work good together? I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, then you have to have
Yeah,
a lot of money. So then you can probably do
yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, anything that surprised you making your first feature film? I know you've been in TV a lot, but like anything that be your first feature, like that kind of stuck with you.
I wasn't surprised, but I liked that from a thought to a decision, the road from A to B was shorter. There wasn't any broadcaster executives, anyone you had to. If I liked the idea, we could do it. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Do you feel like more of an auteur too as well when you're in the feature space, or TV is similar even?
Yeah, no, more in the film space. I think
Yeah.
in the European and Danish tradition, I have a lot of wiggle room, and especially if your producer believe in you. But in so I think it's a more creative process, and it's easier to take risks when you make a film because again, from idea to action the road is shorter. So And I love making television shows, and we have some good executives in Denmark and so on. But there's more, how do you say it, chefs around the soup.
Okay.
There's more people involved, and the more people that's involved, the longer the processes get, and the slower the process get.
Right.
Here it was just me and my producer, and we had to look in each other and say, "Fuck it, let's do it."
Post-production. Tell me about post-production. What did that look like, taking all those pieces in and sorting them out?
Well, it was quite an interesting process. I haven't worked with an amazing editor. I worked with an amazing editor I met at the film school. It's called Louis Sever, and he has like a hawk's a view on the material. I gave him a lot of material, as I said to you before. I just want to shoot as much as possible and give us as many opportunities and different kind of emotions for scenes and so on. So he started like giving me a rough cut after 3 weeks or something, where he like, I think this is a good place to start. And then we just slowly hacked our way through it. And I think we were in editing for 16 weeks or something like that. And on the way, we had like a test audience and feedback from different kind of film people and so on. So I liked the editing process a lot. And then I moved on to sound, which actually was very painless.
Oh,
Yeah, in a very, very good sense. But we had a post sound editor in the editing room early on and telling him about our plans and what we wanted to do and so on. So it was a really good collaborative experience. And I believe as a director, the best thing you could do is to choose the right people. And if I had to say I did one thing right with this film, I chose the right people.
that was going to be my next question, actually. What would you, similarly, if you could give advice to a first-time feature filmmaker, what would it be?
Film is a collaboration. So choose some people you trust and like, and that are better than you. Like, don't be the smartest guy in the room. That only makes you a shitty film. Like, you have to have experts on every single station that you film, like, and that expert has to be better and smarter about whatever they're working with than you are, and listen to them. Because that's the wonderful thing about film, is working with people. And understanding that it's a collaboration, I think will get you a long way. And if you want to work alone, then probably you should be a writer or something. But with films and as a director, you work with experts, and your finest job is to make them as good as possible, because in the end they will make you look good. So, and I've been very fortunate to meet a lot of good people on this film.
Good luck with the guest at Karlovy.
Thank you, Marcus.
Please like and subscribe to this podcast and follow us on social media at Past Present Feature. And let us know in the comments section what movies you're watching. Thank you so much for listening to the Past Present Feature podcast, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Love learning about filmmaking? There's no better film school than actually watching movies in theaters. Revival Hub is your guide to specialty screenings in Los Angeles. Classics on 35mm, director Q&As, rare restorations, and indie gems you won't find on streaming. Revival Hub connects moviegoers with over 200 venues across LA, from the major Revival houses to the 20-seat micro cinemas and more. Whether you're an aspiring filmmaker or just love great cinema, Revival Hub helps you discover the screenings that matter, the ones that'll change how you see movies. Visit revivalhub.com to see what's playing this week. That's RevivalHub.com.